You know, worry and grief, they're these heavy, all-consuming feelings that can just cast a shadow over everything. But what if there was a spiritual roadmap to navigate these emotions? Well, in this explainer, we're going to explore a really clear path for finding peace even when times get tough.
Just think about it for a second. That knot in your stomach when you're worried about what's coming next, or that deep, deep ache of sadness over something you've lost. These are powerful, and they're profoundly human experiences.
And the very first thing to know is that you are absolutely not alone in feeling this way. This is just a fundamental part of being human. I mean, from the most ordinary person to the most beloved prophets, everyone has faced these trials. The real difference isn't about avoiding them, it's about how we process them.
So, here's how we're going to break this down. We'll start by building a strong foundation of faith. Then we'll get into the 5 keys to serenity, which is like a practical toolkit, and that includes understanding the incredible power of connection. And finally, we'll look at reframing the whole idea of pain itself, the higher purpose of pain, which can totally transform how you see challenges.
Okay, let's dive right in with the first and maybe the most crucial step, building that foundation of faith by accepting the divine decree. Seriously, this is the mindset that changes everything.
So, at the very heart of these teachings is the concept of al-qada wal-qadr. Now, this isn't about just passively giving up. It's about a deep, active trust that there's a higher wisdom at play, even in those moments we just can't possibly understand.
This piece of prophetic wisdom just gets right to the core of so much of our anxiety. That little phrase, if only, it's a total trap, isn't it? It just pulls us into this painful cycle of regret, where we're constantly replaying the past, imagining different outcomes, which really only invites more stress into our lives. You can really see the difference here. On one side, you have that if-only loop that just keeps you stuck and anxious. But on the other side, submitting to a higher plan, well, that fosters acceptance and peace, and it's what actually allows you to move forward.
All right, so now that we've laid that foundation, let's build on it with a practical toolkit you can actually use to find some tranquility. Here are 5 key actions from Sheikh Abda as-Salam al-Shuwair.
Okay, here they are. First, that foundation we just talked about, truly believing in the divine decree. Second, turning to prayer and making it a sincere conversation. Third, reading the Quran to find healing. Fourth, connecting with a good friend. And fifth, reframing the trial to see its purpose. Let's dig into a few of these a little closer.
The second key. This one is all about communication. It's about taking all that worry, all of that grief, and just turning it into a direct and heartfelt conversation with the divine.
This verse from the Quran, it holds such a powerful promise. It's this beautiful reminder that prayer, especially that raw, honest prayer from someone who's really in distress, is heard, and it's a direct way that hardship can be removed. All right, key number 3. This involves engaging with Scripture. But it's not just about reading, it's about approaching the Quran as a direct source of healing for your heart and your mind. The Quran is actually described as a healing for what is in the chest. I mean, what a beautiful way to describe emotional pain. There's even a specific prophetic prayer that asks for the Quran to be the spring of my heart and the very thing that makes sorrow leave. It just lifts you out of your immediate problem by giving you this much wider, eternal perspective.
Now, this is so crucial. This spiritual path is not one of isolation. In fact, a key part of the remedy is deep human connection.
This is one of the most powerful examples you'll find. Right here in the Quran, you have the prophet Moses, about to take on this monumental mission. And what does he ask God for? Support. He asks for his brother, Aaron, to be by his side to give him strength. Just think about that. Even prophets needed someone to lean on.
And there's some real practical wisdom to this. You know how it is. When we keep our worries bottled up, they just grow and grow in our minds. But simply voicing them to a friend we trust often helps us see them clearly. And it can reveal that, you know what, maybe this burden isn't as heavy as I thought.
All right, now we come to the final key, and honestly, this might be the most transformative one of all. It's about understanding the why behind the hardship. This is about shifting your entire perspective on what it means to face a trial. So instead of seeing pain as some kind of punishment, it's reframed as this profound opportunity. It actually becomes a mechanism for purification, for elevating your spiritual rank. It's a way of wiping the slate clean.
And what's really fascinating here is the idea that the people most beloved to God are the ones who are tested the most severely.
starting with the prophets. In fact, the early Muslims were actually known to rejoice when they faced a trial, because they saw it not as a curse, but as a profound sign of divine love.
Okay, so let's bring this all together. What we've really explored here is a clear, actionable path to navigate life's inevitable challenges, a kind of spiritual toolkit for building resilience and finding peace.
So let's just quickly recap the big ideas. First, embrace the idea of destiny to get out of that if-only trap. Then, actively use your tools, sincere prayer, scripture, and good company. And finally, always try to see every trial as a chance to grow.
And this verse really captures the ultimate promise that underpins this whole worldview. It describes the people of paradise, and their first words are just gratitude for having all their sorrow removed. It's such a powerful reminder that from this perspective, all the grief we feel in this world is temporary.
So we'll leave you with this one final thought to ponder. Take a look at the challenges in your own life. How might your experience of them change if you started to see them not as random obstacles, but as the very path, designed specifically for your own growth and purification?